All right, hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spencer L.C. Matthijs, where we discuss everything on the craft of writing. So today I wanted to discuss a very cool lesson, how to approach the page, a writer's guide to intention. I think this is a very important subject for a writer that's at any point in his or her career or journey to understanding and learning the craft. It's really relevant and it's important, and I don't think it's talked about enough. The beauty of writing is I don't think there's any set way to approach the page. There's no right or wrong way. That is what's so great is writing is like the Wild West. You can do whatever the hell you want. This is only to be taken as a grain of salt, whatever that's saying. Anyways, although there's no wrong way to approach the page, I do think there's one important thing that is wrong when approaching the page. And I see it in critique groups, I see it in writers groups, and I can tell it's don't be boring. That should be your number one and only rule when it comes to approaching the page. Don't be boring. You can be up, down, left, right. Just don't be in the middle. Don't be passive aggressive in your speech. The page forces you as the writer to take a stance on something. This isn't the time where you're sitting idly by in class and scared to raise your hand. It's not, where you're scared to speak up about a topic that actually consumes you. This is the time and place for you to throw that out willingly and fearlessly. So don't be passive aggressive. You have to take a stand on something. Be interesting. Whether you're picking, you can't do both of these, which is use dull words and use a dull subject. That is the worst writing in my opinion, or equates to bad writing, is when it's dull in the subject and the wording, use of language. If you're gonna pick, someone going in a grocery store to shop, cool. But have them fall flat on their fucking face and do something interesting with it. Use interesting wordage too. Maybe they fall down and become as rotten as the vegetable that was left on the bottom layer of the pile. I don't know, something interesting. So I think another person who put this in a good way was Joey Diaz. He said you got to do something. He's like, I don't care. If you're a drug addict or an alcoholic or if you're a postman, you got to do something. That's the same thing as the page. You got to be something, got to take a stance on something. So I'd say that falls into a spectrum of which type of writer you are when you're approaching the page. Are you an emotional writer or are you more of an intellectual writer? See, I think it's a broad spectrum, and people fall in between and are both. You might be sway one way or the other. Myself, I tend to be more of an emotional writer. One pro about that is that I feel like I get more of a flair when it comes to my writing. It tends to be interesting because it's coming from an honest place. I think it's very useful to write from an honest place. Whether you got back from your job and you're pissed at your boss, use that anger, throw it down on the page. Use the baggage of the outer world as your fuel to writing. It automatically will make your work more interesting. It will give it some more of those gems. That being said, as an emotional writer, there's a catch-22. That is, you can't just emotionally vomit onto the page and expect everyone to read it and love it and understand it. That's just not how it goes, and it shouldn't be. In every craft, the craftsman has to manipulate the craft so that it's accepted in some way, so that he can release in some way. So, I say as a comedian, he'll have a truth, realization, or confession about the world. He confines it into a joke so that it's accepted by laughter with the audience. The writer is not so different in that we also have truths and realizations about the world and confessions and things that we feel deeply within, especially when we're emotionally writing. The only thing is we need to hide it. Instead of a joke, we need to hide it or conceal it in our prose, our word choice, our sentence structure, our scene writing, our overall story structure. We need to hide it and make it palatable for the audience. This is by manipulation of the craft. It can't just be vomit. You have to make it edible, consumable for the audience. And this is where I'd say the fun part of writing, both are fun, but practice to take that emotional baggage, use it as fuel, put it down on the page. That's your intention, whether it be anger, sadness, depression, whatever that emotion that day has you in that moment, throw it out onto the page. As Hemingway said, there's nothing to writing but sitting down and bleeding out into the typewriter. He's exactly right. Bleed. That is how you show honesty and intention in your writing. That should be your intention. To make it consumable, you need to practice the craft. You need to go through on your word choice. You need to make sure on the scene writing that everyone has an intention in the scene. Everyone's after something. There's an even sense of dialogue and action in the scene. And then as well as overall story structure, inciting incidents, things that are happening, higher stakes. These are the things in the craft that will make your word vomit a 5-course, 5-star meal. And once you can combine those three things, such as, having an honest story, and then having it structured well and done well, just those two things alone, an honest story and having it structured well, is going to make you very dangerous as a writer. It's going to make you a better writer. So that's what I wanted to get across today is when approaching the page, approach it with your emotional baggage, throw it out, bleed onto the page, let it be honest and true, and then use the craft to make it consumable and understandable for the audience. Now, what I love about writing too is that everyone has their own reasons for approaching the page day after day, whether it be a moral obligation or a duty, or a therapy and release. It doesn't matter. But what does matter is the intention you bring when you do approach the page. And those are some things and lessons that I learned that have helped me with my writing. So for future videos, I'm going to drop a procedure that I myself have found while writing in my journey. And that's I'm kind of a pantser, binge writer, emotional writer. So if those three things any of those relate to you, you might really like the procedure I've found that works for me when storytelling. That's me doing the different drafts and the process that works. Even if you think you're kind of a different writer than me, I'm sure you'll find something that's useful that you might like. I certainly had to steal stuff from kind of more plotters that helped me even me out with being such a pantser. So look forward to in another video dropping my personal procedure, and hopefully that helps you. Thanks for tuning in for another lesson on how to approach the page in a writer's guide to intention. Hopefully this helps inspire and gives some good information to you fellow writers out there. I want to make this channel super fun. I plan on staying consistent to approaching every week or so with new topics and lessons, as well as getting into some literature analysis. So I'm really excited. I think this channel is going to take on a lot of layers and become something really cool. I hope it can become some type of community where we can discuss what's working and not working for in our writing worlds. So thanks for tuning in to the Spencer L.C. Mattice Craft channel on writing. You heard it here first. Peace out.